Hey everybody, welcome back. So today we're just going to swap out the power steering pump, and the issues, you can see it's been overheated on the corner in that blue little corner here. Let's see if we can point it out for you, and here right there. But yeah, sometimes you have some leaks and you lose fluid and they overheat, and for this one it's not that it's got that Ford Explorer squeal, which means there's air in it. It actually has bearing noise in it. So once it gets hot, you go for a long drive, it's kind of like a squeak, 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 squeak. So this is me trying to figure out where the bolt goes again without using a manual or checking online like an idiot. But eventually we do get it figured out. So we have about 3 of these now, and usually they all go for some reason or another. Either the rubber seals go and they suck air in, and then they make the whining sound. Usually it's the bearing that goes because they're cheap in the first place. And we just buy another pump, which is $100 versus a bearing kit or anything like that. So what we're going to do here is see if we can clean it out and check it over, make sure it's good to go. And so I guess you're going to watch me while I work and watch something else on my phone, and we all watch this together. So pretty boring stuff, but for those wondering, that's a power steering pump. Small little vanes, fluid goes in, cycled around, becomes a pump. Pretty simple, and eventually it makes its way into the system and then back to the reservoir. Half of that line coming out of that system goes to the VSS on the transmission, and also through a cooler, and then back to the reservoir. On the system I have, I did add a cooler. For a while there I didn't have one, and obviously there was issues with that, which is probably the first power steering pump when we did add a cooler. It's right behind the radiator, and works out. Yep, the only issues I have now are from maybe fluid leaks, and maybe the system overheats because of that. So I think what we're going to do, we're just going to put this back together and pop it on the car. We're going to fill it with fluid as much as we can, and also a little different bleeding system. So we're filling the unit, and then while we're bleeding the system, we're jacking the car up to get the wheels off the ground. Not sure why, but big difference in bleeding the system when the wheels are off the ground compared to on the ground. So this looked good. Yep. Just cleaning it up, checking the inside. That would be a OEM power steering pump too, compared to the others, which were from China, I would assume. They were no brand name. So we're just going to quickly take this off, swap over the power steering line. Don't forget there's no ring underneath. You can see the reservoir in this shot below the light. This is where we got into that discussion of can you bleed it properly with a reservoir below the power steering pump level wise. I think the OEM is the same way, so it's like how does the air properly escape, but I guess it gets pushed through with the fluid, which you see in the reservoir when you're bleeding it. Don't forget there's no ring on that line. I always like to wrap it up, zip tie it up, set it off to the side. We are working on electric power steering pump conversion, but it's still fluid. It simply gets rid of the belt. And lately there's been some others even going to full electric, which is a steering column assist. But that involves a lot of cutting steering columns and welding. That's That would be a really huge job. I guess it's a lot easier because right now the pump I have for an MR2 is completely massively huge and hard to fit into the bay. The wiring is impossible, things like this. Anyway, new pump goes on. Everything goes together. Still need a pulley. And a pretty easy, simple job, especially if you just have a replacement pump. Make sure you have fluid on hands. Yeah, the different bolts I have, not sure why, always did. Yeah, so this is the old one. I don't know if that was a left or a right. Check the manual, can't remember. There it was. It was a opposite thread. Yeah, left is the Titan. Yeah, making sure that's on there. I think as it's an opposite thread, it would never come loose anyway. And filling the power steering pump, make sure to turn it while filling it. Try and get all the fluid in the gaps in there, which is less air in the system when you start it up. Let's listen to it starting and the pump. I don't know why the engine sounds like it's got an extra load. It does fix itself. Right there. Anyway, this is what a power steering pump should sound like. Sounds great. No leaks, no whine, no noise. So you're just topping up the fluid and turning the wheels back and forth. You can see the reservoir cap on the engine shaking. This is balance shaft. Alright, let's turn this down. That is the balance shaft delete right there. Your engine does vibrate a little bit more. Kind of annoying. You can resolve with engine mounts and other items. But yeah, good to go. Anyway, that's a pretty boring video. Thanks for watching. Cheers, everyone.